break it all down. The Vault Studio, the best show in town. Best show in town, best show in town. Lights on, mic check, game time, let's go. Jay George, Scotty running the show. Rock on the mix, keeping it tight. NFL talk every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the NFL podcast. I'm your host, J.A., and I'm joined by three legends. I've got George to the left of me, Scotty to the right, Brock on the ones and twos. Before we get into it, make sure
What about Sadie?
I've got Sadie, the dog that won't leave my side.
Shout out to Sadie.
But it's better than her smashing at the door for 4 hours while we record. So
Our
we've
therapy
decided just to relieve
So-
it. and let her in here.
it's my therapy dog.
Yeah.
Make sure you get on the social medias, TikTok, Twitter. I'm now posting the clips on Twitter as well.
X.
If you're on X, whatever it is.
The porn cesspool.
The porn cesspool.
Shout out
Instagram,
Elon Musk.
YouTube. You want to watch the video, you can watch it on Spotify. We have the video up on Spotify and also on YouTube. You can watch it there. Guys, one thing I want to say to everyone who tunes in, I got a goal. Everyone needs to comment every time you listen. I don't care what it is. You can say, Jay is an
say
idiot,
something.
whatever you want. Just give us some sort of comments.
I think it's clear that most of the idiot referrals will be towards me, so that's fine.
Well, I did say
I'll
it was
I'll also
me.
deflect some of them too.
So get on there. We love the comments. We had a couple of clips this week. We got a ton of comments, and it was fun getting in there and responding. to them.
100%.
And you don't have to agree with us. It's fine. Like we don't.
I prefer
care.
you don't agree with me.
Do you?
Yeah.
That
that's
will
a-
come naturally, I
that's a
think.
real trait.
With a lot of your takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the Philly takes it. Yeah.
Whoa.
I think I'm pretty reserved about Philly, man.
But yeah, that's where we're at, guys. We're full into the off season. The NFL Combine was last week. Look,
No one gives a fuck
I don't know.
about it.
Yeah, like, does anyone? This is a generic question. Does anyone care about the Combine?
I would say about 5-6 years ago, I used to care about the combine, just to stay up and watch it. Now I just don't give a fuck. I
Yeah.
see it all on social media. I see what I need to see. I don't care anymore about it.
The information's pretty widespread now.
Yeah, I think that a little bit of the gloss has gone off it.
Yeah.
Too, maybe. I don't know.
None
Tough
of
for
the
me to
none of the
say.
top talent actually do anything there anymore. They might throw a couple balls, but it's not like when Josh Allen was throwing 60, 70-yard bombs and everyone else was actually competing. No one cares about it anymore. They know they're going to get picked, so they don't have to actually perform to actually rise.
Yeah,
there.
that's a fair
draft up.
point, actually, Brock. Like, but, you know, I think people used to look at the combine as like, oh, I've got to go and sing for my supper so that I can get picked. Now everyone knows they're going to get picked. They don't give a shit.
Like
Can't-
guys aren't even playing bowl games and stuff now
Yeah.
because they don't need to anymore.
Yeah.
I think the Senior Bowl is probably a
Yeah.
better measuring stick for the potential draft than
Sure.
the actual
Yeah, that's a
combine.
good point.
So
A lot of guys do increase their stock in the Senior Bowl because they're actually playing a football game and they're guys that might not get
against
noticed as much.
similar talent as
Mm.
well.
Yeah,
Mm.
so the guys
Yeah.
that don't get noticed as much normally go and showcase.
I mean,
their
it's cool
talents.
if a record gets broken or something like that. Like, that's
Yeah.
cool to talk about. But
Yeah.
like, other than that, like, whatever.
There was a bit of beef between the Texas wide receiver that said he was going to break Worthy's 40 time, and then I think he ran a 4.39, which is a 4.29, which is still.
Slow.
No. He ran a 4.45.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
And then
D Lyman running that.
and
Come
then-
on, bro.
and then Worthy came out and was like, respect your past players and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like, who cares, man?
Sure.
You
fuck that, bro.
you're drafted already. Like, what do you?
You're
care?
all millionaires.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah.
Like, relax.
It was wild. The only thing I did want to bring up from the combine was one of the things that came up, and it's come up quite frequently, is Shedeur Sanders and his interview. So a lot of people don't realize the combine is not just about the athletic feats and doing all that sort of stuff. It's where the teams you can have 15-minute meetings with players. You have to assign who you want to have meetings with. And that's kind of basically showing your interest that we're interested in you. We want to meet with you and talk to you for 15 minutes. The reports were that Shedeur Sanders came off not great from his interviews. Like, he didn't really, one of the main comments was that he didn't really care what the teams thought about him. Like,
Okay.
he's like, I don't care if you think I'm good or bad. This is who I am.
Right.
I don't really care if you like me. I don't care if you want to draft me. It was like, someone's going to draft me and I don't have to prove myself.
Definitely
to you.
sounds like Deion Sanders'
You
son.
have a theory on this, eh?
Well, here's what I think, right? I think Shedeur Sanders, from what I've seen, he obviously for all quarterbacks, this is pretty true as well. You want to go to the most talented teams, right? Now, obviously the draft, very rarely a talented team's drafting early. It's only if they've traded up for a pick that you have a talented team drafting someone early in the draft.
Or they've had like a really down year
Just had
because
one
of
down year,
injuries
injuries
or
and stuff
whatever.
like that.
Yeah, which is rare, which is very rare.
And I think this year is kind of one of the first year I can remember there's not really any teams in that top 6 or 7 that you can go, they're talented and they just need a quarterback and they're going to be fine. Like you've got Titans, Browns have got just a ton of issues with. But I don't think they can draft a quarterback because they're paying Deshaun Watson so much.
Well,
So
they have to draft one because
because
they're
they
so
can't
cheap.
and they can't
Yeah.
sign one. So
Yeah.
and then you've got the Giants who are obviously quarterback desperate. There's just not many talented teams in that top. The Patriots don't need a quarterback at 4. The Raiders, again, they've got Brock Bowers, and that's about it offensively. They're not a great offensive line. So the theory is that Shador's, with his interviews and his lack of interest in talking to these people, is that he's trying to plummet his draft stock so he can fall later in the draft, get to a better talented team, so then he has a better chance.
Yeah, better situation for him.
The Giants don't actually have a quarterback on their roster for next year.
Yes, that's right.
And
yeah.
funnily enough, best quarterback roster they've had for years.
Yeah, that was a great meme. Yeah,
Wow.
Top 5
Just-
at least.
Yeah.
Just an open platform for them since Eli Manning. So, which is
I don't know if he's if Shador's deliberately doing it. I just think that he's so full of himself that his natural demeanor would just rub off negatively to any
So
team.
NFL suits, yeah. He definitely drinks his own bathwater. There's no doubt about
It
that.
suits coaches, players. Imagine him rolling into an established locker room with 6 to 10 year vets that know the NFL and know the business behind it and know how the team works, and he's rolling in like he's God's gift.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
that's pretty fair.
Well, the only reason I disagree with it is because all the reports from him as a man and him as that he's a very strong leader. His teammates in college loved him.
That's coming from Dion though.
No, this is from I listened to Bill Simmons with Peter Schrager today, and that he was pretty straight where he was like, he's very well liked, and teammates liking you is a big thing. Like if your teammates love you and they say you're a strong leader, that's a big indicator of what sort of person you are.
But
I think to an extent,
I'm pushing back on that because his dad's the coach. You have to like him by default, or otherwise you're transferring.
He also had the opportunity. He went to Jackson State first, which were a nothing school. He could have gone to almost any Division 1 school he wanted, and he picked a tiny school with zero success, where it probably was not the best situation for him, but he went there. And then he went to Colorado. Obviously, his dad was coaching. Dion was coaching, but he played behind a subpar offensive line. Didn't have, other than Travis Hunter, who's obviously one of the top picks.
No, they had another good receiver,
but they weren't loaded compared to other Division 1 colleges. It wasn't a loaded team. He could have gone to an Alabama and had a ton of success and looked terrific. Like he could have been Jalen Milroe, where he's had a ton of, and he's almost getting said like he's not that good because he had so much talent around him. But he could have done that and actually increased his stock. Where he decided, and the Colorado one's not as much because obviously,
but Colorado played against poorer opponents as well.
Not all the time. I'm not a college expert, but I just think that all the signs point towards that he's not arrogant and up himself, and he's quite a team guy and all that. I think that someone might. I don't think he's the most gifted quarterback we've seen in a draft in the last few years, and the fact that he's probably a second round guy.
Yeah,
but I saw a stat today that quarterbacks don't get drafted. There's only been 5 quarterbacks drafted in the second round for the past 10 years.
Yep.
So either they go in the first,
is the outlier.
It was Hurts, Levis. There was 2 Tennessee guys, Hackenberg or Mettenberg, one of those guys. There was only 5 of them, and Hurts is the only one that's actually had success as a quarterback in the NFL.
Was Midleek Willis in the second round?
I think he might have been third.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't him. But that's what I mean. Like I think that quarterbacks are boom or bust. They either think they're a first round pick, or they're happy to wait and get one of them later. So, and I think Shador he's a second round talent, but the fact that he's a quarterback, he's going to bump into the first round. And if he can fall, which again, I don't think he falls out of the top 10 because teams are so desperate for quarterbacks. Realistically, he probably goes 3 to the Giants if they don't trade up for the 1 and try and get Cam Ward. But again, like the Titans might not want a quarterback. They might be like, none of them are that good. Let's roll with Levis for a year, get another bottom pick, and then we'll take a top quarterback next year.
Surely teams watched what Carolina did, and we know the trade. DJ Moore, future first, to move up the spot, and they got what's his name?
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Yep.
Young, yep.
But they gave up so much capital that the team went back so far.
Yeah.
Surely the Giants, who's picking at 5?
Not the Raiders. Brock, can you get the draft up for us?
Whoever's picking up at 5 and 6, they're not giving up future draft assets to go and get a quarterback, especially in a weak quarterback draft.
Yeah, the picks are too valuable, and that's what I was going to say. The picks are too valuable, and the draft class isn't good enough to warrant that. If you're trading up and you're giving up multiple years worth of first round picks to get that number one spot. That has to be a can't miss home run.
Yeah.
Like it has to be.
And you don't know. It's a draft. You don't know if it's a can't miss.
Yeah.
The Jags are 5 and the Raiders are 6.
Yeah,
Well,
so the
Jags-
Raiders are a quarterback wanting team, obviously.
So Jags and Patriots in the top 5 won't be drafting quarterbacks.
No, and that's the thing for the Jags and the Patriots. You've got the potential here if quarterbacks go 1 and 3, depending on who. I think Cam Ward's going number 1. I don't know if it's to the Titans, but I think he's going number 1. I just don't think a team will pass on. We know in the history of the NFL, teams don't pass on that level of talent from a guy.
Sure.
So whether you like him or not, or you think he's going to be good or not, his talent level, his tangible skills are very highly regarded.
He's a very good passer of the ball.
He's got a cannon of an arm.
Yep.
He runs like the wind. He's big. He's strong. He ticks every button for skill set. Now, the rest of it, they always back. These NFL guys always back that if I get the guys with the skill set, we can make him a good player.
Yeah.
All of them have that hubris. It's just the way that these coaches and these organizations are built. And I don't dislike that. That's the way they should be built. They should back that we can get a Cam Ward. He's got all these skills, and then we can teach him how to be the best guy.
Sure.
But I don't think Shador will get past the Raiders. But I think what they're trying to do, I think the best scenario for Shador is if he can get himself into the late teens to teams with, like, even a team like Pittsburgh that has a bit more talent around it, a stronger defense, someone like that. But then he's not going into a complete shambles of an organization. Because you add Shador to the Giants, other than Malik Neighbors, I just don't see it being successful.
Also, if you're drafting him, do you want the circus that comes with him? Do you want Lamar? Is it not Lamar? Who's the LeVar Ball type circus that potentially comes with him?
Swerve in the corner. Whoa.
And like,
We
and that's a
haven't
good
seen
point.
that yet
Like,
from Dion though, like he hasn't really been that outspoken in the last few weeks.
no, well, the last few weeks, cool, but what about the last few years?
Well,
He hasn't shut the fuck up since he got drafted, bro. What do you mean for a few
Well,
weeks?
that's his persona, but he's not out there like drumming that you need to draft my son. That's what I mean. I think that they've gone real quiet. On
Yeah,
the
but imagine if the
promoting
organization fails Shador in the first 10, 12, 15 weeks. of the
Yeah,
season.
but like let's be honest, a father is always going to do that. You know, there's been countless players that have failed that then their parents have come out and been like, nah, the organization was shit. That's just the natural occurrence of what's going to happen when failure.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You're not going to throw your own son under the bus.
Yeah, you're not going to be like especially publicly. You're not going to be like, well, he was a sack of shit and didn't care. Like,
yeah,
it
but
just
those
doesn't
fathers probably aren't coming for the coaching job.
Yeah, do you think Dion wants to be an NFL coach? Because I think he would have had every opportunity this season if he wanted to be. And by all reports, he didn't. He didn't really interview.
Well, he said publicly that the only way I'll coach is if I'm coaching my son.
Yeah, so maybe he wants him.
So
to end
maybe
up
his son
where
goes
he's-
somewhere.
Yeah, and then he's got a chance. That's what I mean. I think there's an ulterior motive from them. I think Dion's behind the curtains trying to direct him to a team, and we have never been in a position in sports history. We have never been in this spot where players have more power than they have now.
I think you'd be very naive to think that they're not trying to control the narrative as best as they can. It'd be very naive to think.
And it wouldn't shock me if they're saying to teams like the Giants, "Don't draft me. I don't want to play for you." Like Eli Manning did it.
Yeah.
And then, like, historically, the San Diego Chargers drafted him, and he went, "No, I'm not playing for you." And then they did the flip and got Phillip Rivers, and that was just a straight swap. The Chargers honestly thought when they drafted Eli Manning, he will play for us. And he stuck to his guns. I said I wouldn't. I told you not to draft me. I'm not playing for you. So trade me somewhere else. I'm not even going to enter your building. I'm not signing your contract. I'm not doing anything. So they were forced. So I don't think, like, we're now getting to this age where these young players out of college, they have so much power in college. If they don't like where they are, they can leave.
NIL money has given them that little bit of arrogance and hubris as well.
Well, and they have genuine power in the college system because they can just transfer to another team. They don't miss a year. They don't miss any eligibility. If they bring in a 5-star recruit from high school and they're the quarterback, they can go, I don't like this. I'm going to go somewhere else. This coach has called me. Our ex-offensive coordinator, who's now the head coach here, he's called me. I'm going to transfer to him. The colleges can't stop him. So that's a new vein of these young guys who in the past have just been, I'm so excited I'm being drafted by an NFL team. I guarantee you Shador or Cam Ward do not want to end up at Cleveland. I guarantee you, who the hell wants to go there?
Absolutely
no player wants to go there.
Well, their best player, maybe
Absolutely.
ever, has said, I don't want to play for you guys anymore. And he's flat out saying, trade me. It's not a money thing. I just don't want to be here.
Yeah, they offered him more. Apparently, all reports, they offered Myles Garrett a record-setting number for his position.
Yeah.
And the agent said, we're not even listening. Like,
Yeah.
we
We
does
don't
not want to play for
anymore,
you.
Yeah.
And he's not going to play for you. The money is not the concern. Anyone will pay him that money.
That's
We're not
fair enough. Like I
concerned.
said, going for a rebuild. So if you're going through a rebuild, that's fine because he's 30 now. Probably got 2 years at this elite all pro level before it starts dropping off. That's fair enough. But I think you shouldn't have that power as a draft pick coming into the league.
I agree. I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm just saying
Yeah.
this is the reality of where
No,
we're
I
living
disagree.
right now.
I disagree.
You think players should have the power?
100%. They're the product.
Then why have a
Well,
draft?
they're the product. Well,
They're the
they-
product. Without the
the
players, there's
team's
no product.
employing him though.
Well, then you just don't go to. You can't have a draft. Then if all these players are just going to be like, I'm not going to.
Just
that
make it
team.
a free agency pool and whoever.
I actually don't mind that idea.
Nah, that's stupid.
Do you know
That's retarded.
You should hate that idea, and I'll tell you why you should hate that idea.
Why?
Because you know who would be elite under that rule? The Dallas Cowboys. Because Jerry Jones will just roll in and go, here's all the money, here's all the money,
he would.
here's all the money.
He would.
That's what I mean. Like that would make it like baseball. where
There's
you can just pay
zero
guys.
league parity, and the bad teams will always be bad, and they'll relocate, and the NFL will turn to shit.
It has to be like this.
Yeah, but the bad teams are like that's not necessarily true because the bad teams are always bad anyway.
That's not true. The bad
No.
teams aren't always bad. There's perennial bad teams. There's teams like the Jets. Like the Browns were in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. Not last one, the year before.
Yeah.
They were in the playoffs with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
They fucked that up. They let Baker.
They were in the
Mayfield-
playoffs last year with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The year before.
So,
last.
so they were in the playoff with Baker, missed a year, and then went back last year.
So like, and the Jets haven't been in playoffs for a long time, but
They're perennial losers, though. That's an organizational thing.
well, the Jets had when they had Rex Ryan, they went to 2 AFC Championship games.
Yeah, with
The
Sanchez.
teams do have an ebb and flow. Now the bad teams find a way to be bad, but they're like the parity of the NFL is what makes it so exciting. because
Jacksonville were in an AFC Championship game not too far ago.
with Blake Bortles,
Yeah.
who threw 40 touchdowns that year, and then it fell apart. Like there is parity in the NFL, and that's what makes it exciting. They have an average of 6 teams coming in and out of the playoffs every year. There's not a lot of sports
that's
that have
true.
that.
Yeah, they do.
I did just see a tweet about Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Someone commented they should trade him to the worst team for the hell of it.
Yes.
And the reply was the Browns want to trade him back to the Browns.
Breaking news: the Browns are trading for. That is
Fucking
very
hell,
good.
That's funny.
Yeah, I just think Miles Garrett ends up on a good team. I don't think he'll end up anywhere. It'll be one of the playoff contenders.
It'll be a contending NFC team.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they'll put him in the AFC.
Let's get on to the next topic, boys. It's about George's boy, Debo Samuels, to
Why is he my boy?
You like Debo?
your best mates, aren't you?
No, I don't.
You love him.
You're a big
This
fan.
is.
I think he's extremely overrated.
I agree.
He's had one good, not even a great season. He had
No,
one.
he had one.
He
He had a great season.
He had a-
So 2021 was a good to great. It wasn't
had-
great.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had 2,000 yards from scrimmage.
Yeah.
rushing and receiving.
I don't think it was that much.
I think it was about 1850 or
yeah,
something.
it was high. Like he had a
That's a great year. That is a great year.
And then I think from then, like he's been injured. His body hasn't been right. It's been some on him, some on his body for him. He's definitely overweight. He's playing at too heavy a weight.
He's way too fat.
100%. He is just too big for the position he wants to play.
Yeah.
But going to Washington, was it a 5th round pick, Brocky?
Yeah, 5th round pick to Washington.
5th round pick
And
to Washington.
what's the story? So is it like it's a 1 year deal or what is
it's
it?
a
He's
one
on the
year,
last year of his deal.
1 year
Last year?
remaining.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So it's 17.5 million, I think. And I personally think that for where that team is and how many needs that team has, that's a terrible use of your cap.
Oh, I think for 1 year it's fine. That's half what the cap went up, what they're giving him. So I don't think it hurts him. I think he goes to Cliff Kingsbury, who
Could have got a better player for
What
that
do
much
you
money.
can get Darius Slayton for 8 million.
do you
and
think
he's going to
Darius
be.
Slayton's better than Debo Samuel?
I reckon he's more productive
No, I don't think Darius Slayton's a very.
as a 3.
He's had every potential to be successful in the Giants and hasn't been.
Okay, who's throwing him the ball?
Yeah, or Tommy Cutlets. Like,
Yeah, no. But,
give Tommy
okay,
some love.
he's a player playing out of position, being a number 1 receiver. You put him with Scary Terry,
Yeah.
and I think Ertz is probably going to retire. That's what the feelers are out there.
Yeah.
So if you can get Scary Terry as your 1 and then Slayton as your 2, 3, like that is a way better productive for $8 million than trading for. Are you giving up a 5th rounder?
This is my take on Debo. Too fat, too old, too slow, too banged up, too expensive. Simple.
Yeah.
as that.
And locker room liability.
Well, his contract this year, the cap hit's only $5 million, and then he has 4 void years after that. That's where it really becomes a problem.
What?
They have 4 void years after
What does
his
that mean,
contract.
Brock?
So it's when they have to pay him. They might not be playing, but they have to pay him the money.
if they cut him.
No, doesn't matter. That's his contract. So that's how they kick the cap down the road. They void the years, but they still pay him. So he's not playing, but they're still paying him. So they're paying him $12.5 million next year.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's under contract still. I
Yeah.
thought he's like in the last year of his deal.
No. But like the cap hit, you're
It's
still
still-
paying-
it still keeps
even though he's
trickling
not
down.
on
And
the
I
line.
also
okay.
saw that 49ers are off all his money. So usually when a trade goes down, teams negotiate, okay, you'll pay,
X
$6.5
amount,
million, whatever. So the 49ers wipe their hands. They've been fucking kissed on the dick again with another
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah, true.
Mm.
And so now Washington's taking all the cap hit. And I think if the name would be good in the system with Cliff Kingsbury, with all the screens and the quick passes,
Sure.
the name is good. But I don't think you're going to get that execution from the player
The
anymore.
body and the player won't be
Yeah,
able to do
I don't
it.
think. I think the game is, unless he comes in phenomenal shape.
I think that's what Washington will be banking, and I'm sure they would have had that conversation with him that you need to come in fit,
not looking like a bottom.
I would
Yeah,
rather they
basically,
overpay a good
young receiver. Yeah,
a
correct.
good guard.
Yeah. Or
Beef up
someone
that O-line.
Yeah,
You throw 17 million. You almost can get Trey Smith for 21.
yeah.
You use that 17 million on the second best guard in free agency or something like that.
I'm never going to shit on signing a good offensive lineman. I'm never going to shit on that.
I just think it's a poor allocation of resources for a team that I think that they're not going to make the playoffs next year.
Especially
anyway,
if you're just getting him for like 1 year. Like, what's the point? Yeah, I agree.
Well, their mindset is, I'm putting myself into Washington's mindset and Dan Quinn. They're thinking he comes back healthy, raring to go. He gets back to that mode. We use him in Cliff Kingsbury's Sinsby, which he fits into as that screen guy, bubble, plays a bit of running back for them, gadgety guy. But that's all a lot of ifs. And if those ifs don't work out, then it's a terrible.
history will show you these moves don't work out.
No, you're right. They don't.
I agree.
They don't
I agree 100%.
and the fact that the Niners were willing to let him go for a 5th round pick,
Well,
it tells you everything you need to know.
They're just.
I think
it's a salary.
exactly. It's more of a salary cap issue, but you can't go around punching your long snapper in the chin when you haven't done anything all year and your team needed you in a must-win game and you go missing.
And then drop a touchdown pass that could have won you the game when your playoffs on the line.
And then you
did
go
do that.
missing for 4 weeks and then you get a touchdown when you're an irrelevant team with nothing to play for and then you start barking at the media.
Yeah, no, I get you right. We won't know if this move works until obviously the season's played out.
Oh, I've seen the future. It doesn't work.
Have you?
Yeah.
Can we give you some gambling tips?
No,
They also don't work.
Can you tell me what? Tell me the Powerball numbers for tomorrow night.
we'll have a great studio if we win the Powerball. All right, let's move on to Travis Kelce. He's coming back for his 13th season.
This is fucking stupid.
Why? I liked this.
Yeah.
Fuck
I don't
Kelce.
have any problem. Why do you hate Kelsey so much? Is it because of Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Because you like her music so much now?
No, I don't.
You do. You like her music.
No, I don't.
You like one of her
You like a song.
Scott, no, not Scott. George, last week he came in playing Taylor Swift.
That's a lie. It was 3 weeks ago.
Hey, they all blur together. They all blur together.
It's a complete lie.
Between the Zins and Hard Solo, who knows what he's talking about?
Fake news.
No, I think it's good. He's obviously a top
Dude.
2 or 3 tight end. You get another year.
The game's gone past him. He's got to
Okay, as the centerpiece of the offense, I do agree.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be the centerpiece of an offense. No 34-year-old should, unless
Sure.
you're a quarterback.
Yeah.
But now you've got Ray Rice coming back. Ray Rice is
Rasheed
not
Rice.
coming back.
I don't think
Rasheed
Ray
Rice.
Rice is coming back. I think he's
Ray Rice
still
is-
riding elevators.
They're
his
both
career.
in the same amount of trouble. But Rasheed Rice coming
Fair.
back, worthy, and then they've got money for another
And they
receiver.
got that other tight end, Noah Gray. Is that right?
Noah Gray's decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. He's another coach on the field. It's invaluable.
Let's be honest. He's probably just going to coast through the year and just try and get his body right to have a good playoff run, which is
100%,
probably
yeah.
what they all they want him for anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like this, people go, oh, he's not coming back for the money because he doesn't need money,
No.
not even football money. He's got so much Spotify money with his podcast,
Yeah, the
with his
podcast
brother.
he's making a lot of money.
He's got a career waiting for him. Media are already lining up to get him like he's like Jason Kelce.
Yeah, because he's
is now.
smart, he's handsome, he's articulate.
He's very good.
He knows the
100%.
game.
Personable.
Yeah, knows the game, yeah.
He ticks all the buttons. So he's got a career with him waiting. And the fact that he's like, no, I want to play football again, That's a dude that
How
wants
much of
to
this
play
do you think
football.
this decision was spurred on by the fact that he had such a stinker in the Super Bowl?
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
do
he
I.
wants to leave it.
I reckon it's like 70% of the
I would go
reason.
higher. I'd say almost 85%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
fair.
think so. And from all reports, we were talking about this before the show, it's clear that he was incredibly unwell in that. And
Okay, yeah.
look, it sounds like an excuse and you can think it's that, but if you watch that game and his effort, his unwillingness to block, his mistakes, that he doesn't make mistakes like that normally, it does add up. He's never had a game that bad.
I'll say this in retort.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good players on that Kansas City team that had stinkers that day.
100%. They
A
did.
lot of players.
And I think a lot of them want to make that right.
The effort was the other players had effort. I think Kelsey, you could just tell it wasn't. It was beyond just getting beaten.
This is the guy that shoved his head coach in an AFC Championship game because he was like, I want to win so bad, give me the ball.
Yeah.
And then won them the game.
Yeah.
Like, this dude's a competitor. The fact that he wants to play football, I respect that because from all rights, there's no real reason for him to come back. He's got nothing left to tick up on his board of careers.
My view is that I think come mid-season, we'll be having a discussion about should he just retire? Should he just finish? Should he just,
but you're right. I think your point on it is, though, I think the plan will be, hey, take it easy regular season, maybe miss a few games here
Coast
and
through, yeah.
We'll load manage you, which is a new favorite term. We'll play you when we need to play you against the big teams. You know, we'll back. We can get to the playoffs, and then playoff time, you're our guy. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if he just plays division games and home games. I wouldn't be surprised if he
I
just
don't
does
think he would want that.
No, I think he'll play all the games.
I just don't think
limited snaps.
Like we said, he won't be the centerpiece of the offense anymore, but he is probably the best third or fourth threat in the league.
Would you prefer him over Kittle?
No, not in that. Kittle in that offense is the whole reason why they're good.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out today, like, where would I rank him in tight ends? Obviously, I think Brock Bowers and Kittle and Laporta are probably ahead of him. But he's probably in that umbrella. Hawkinson's in front of him.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews.
Goddard's got to be up there.
Goddard's in front of him. He's probably in
Andrews has got to be up there. Andrews is a fucking stud, man.
Yeah, so he's probably in that echelon of the second tier, like guys like Jake Ferguson.
I'd have Mark Andrews over Kelsey every day of the week.
Twice
on a Sunday.
Right now, I would,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is 28. But remember, his career was over last year in the first 5 games and then ends up with 12 touchdowns or something. Just got right and turned it on. So I don't hate it. I think it's great for the Chiefs. And it shows he wants to play football.
Which you can't hate on.
You can't hate on that. Let's get to our boy, Devontae Adams, who has been cut by the New York Jets told they're cutting him, trading him or cutting him.
They've given him up for trade. So if any team wants to eat the $40 million cap, they can have him.
Yeah,
so
he's not getting traded. He's getting cut, and he's going to end up wherever Rodgers is.
100%. They're going to be a package deal.
And I don't hate that either.
Like you two.
Yeah, they're nowhere near as good as a package as us.
Don't you compare us to them?
Yeah.
I think they're equally as good a package.
I was going to say something, but I won't. So remind me to tell you why we're a better package than those two after the show. There's one reason why, and it's you'll agree, but I can't say it on this. Our licensing will be banned. I think you already know why too.
Yeah,
we have a game where we have turns.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you after.
Everyone can use their imagination. You're wrong.
You definitely. I guarantee you. Try if you can guess it. Message me and guess it.
Put it in the comments.
Guarantee you're wrong.
Put in the comments why you think we're a package.
I guarantee you will never guess.
A few of the boys will know.
So he ends up wherever Rodgers ends up. Is that the play?
Sure. It has to be.
Funnily enough, could be back at the Raiders, which
Yeah.
would be a wild character. Also, Devontae Adams will play for 3 teams in 1 year. He'll be on 3 teams in 1 year.
That's pretty funny.
That's not a good lot. That's not a good look.
No, I don't think it's all his fault either. Like the Raiders were a shit show.
At this stage of his career, he's basically a fucking hired merc anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, 100%. So he'll end up there. No one's surprised by that.
What do you think his next contract is?
Probably around
10 to 12 million?
I was about to say,
that.
surely it can't be north of 20. He's not that player.
Nah,
anymore.
10 to 12 million is about fair, I think. That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think that's what he'll be. And that's said, he might take a hometown discount.
What do you reckon
to be with Rodgers?
Do you reckon Rodgers gets the $30 million a year?
Yeah, I think around 25 to 30 for a 1 year deal.
Yeah.
Again, depending on the team. I think Rodgers will take whatever the team he wants to go to is happy to pay him.
I've heard that he's making calls to teams.
Oh, he wants to play football.
Yeah. Like he's like teams aren't necessarily calling him.
What
like,
team
he's
takes the
calling
package? Well, we shouldn't call him package. What team takes the duo?
The duo. Raiders definitely would. If there's no bad blood with Devontae, which there shouldn't be because they got a pick from him and now they're getting him back for nothing.
Do you think Pete Carroll, year 1 of the rebuild, takes that?
I think he needs a veteran quarterback.
I agree.
And the draft will. I don't think Rodgers signs till after the draft.
Yeah.
Which would mean he will have to wait. I think he will just be like, I'm going to play it cool, see where the draft falls, and then I'll make a decision from there.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think...
That's pretty fair. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think Raiders, Giants, if they don't get their guy, like you got
Tennessee.
in New York for a year. Tennessee, maybe Tennessee have a deal where they go, we're going to draft Travis Hunter. Come and play ball with Travis Hunter and Kirk and
Abdul Carter.
Or Abdul Carter. Look, they don't really need a DN though. They've got Walker.
You take him.
Walker and Allen. That's what they'll say. But like,
No, that's Jags.
Oh shit! Titans have a Dan. What am I talking about? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they take him.
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone doesn't follow the Howie rule of just draft the best guy. The best guy available, just draft him.
I'll tell you why. Because teams know that you need a quarterback to succeed. A quarterback needy team will always swing for a lesser ranked player that's a quarterback over the best player.
And that's why the majority of them end up as busts because they're reaches. They're all reaches.
And a majority of them end up in a situation where they can't succeed no matter how talented they are because they're not physically...
They're so bereft of talent everywhere else on the roster.
And the quarterbacks aren't ready to come in and be like Patrick Mahomes had a terrible year this year in his terms, in his regard, because of the talent he had around him and the injuries and stuff offensively. They weren't a great offense this year because of those things. But he was able to be a competent, successful, winning quarterback still because of how good he is. First-year quarterbacks don't have that ability. They don't know how to be like, how do I succeed with less talent around me? And that's where these young guys struggle because they go to crap.
Because the majority of those guys that are getting drafted high because they've performed well in college because most of them are on loaded rosters as 100%. It is.
And that's why I think
that's
like a guy like Caleb Williams this season last year was so impressive because it was their receivers were okay, but their offensive line was terrible and he was still able to be competent.
Had
and
no running game.
Yeah, and come off that season being like, you know what? He's pretty good. He's the future. Build around him now. There's not many guys that have that bad a team.
He definitely, I'm not as high on him as you are, where you think he's the next fucking whatever, but he definitely proved that he can play in the NFL. That he did for sure.
He's got top 10 quarterback potential for sure.
Yeah, that's all. I think he's proved he can be playing. He's proved he's good enough to build around now.
Yeah.
He's proved enough that Chicago can go, all right, we've got our quarterback. What's next?
Surely if they're not drafting the best available tackle.
Oh, yeah. They'll be taking an offensive lineman in the draft. Like,
if not, that's fucking stupid.
No, and they'll be spending in free agency too because they've got their guy now. Same with the Washington now. They've hit their guy. They know what they're doing. Let's go. We'll talk about some franchise tags. I want to start with the first one. This one.
Hold up. Before we do that.
What do you got, big guy?
Hold up. Let me just get this up here.
Oh, no. Brock's doing something.
What are you doing?
The ones and twos just coming in strong.
Sharp.
It's Tag Watch. Panda Watch.
Check out the video. That's
watch the video. That's very good.
That's very good for me, Brock.
Well done, sir.
We start with Trey Smith, who didn't get the franchise tag. He got the exclusive
tag. Yep.
Which means that there's a contract on the table. Teams can match it, but then they have to give up draft picks if they sign him. So now they've got to basically decide we want to sign this guy and give up first-round picks.
2 first-round picks, and then I think the cap hits $21.5 million.
Yeah, okay. So do we want to, not only do we want this guy, do we want to give up talent at picks? And let's be honest, as much as I love offensive linemen, and I think Trey Smith is
not worth 2 first-round picks.
You're not giving up first-round picks. Like, they don't even draft guards in the first round.
Yeah.
You have to be historically good to even get drafted in the first round.
You just wouldn't.
So
they will this year, though.
Yeah, there'll be some good. There's
a lot of good talent.
Yeah, there's a lot of good talent
interior line.
Line. So, which I personally think this is a dream scenario for the Chiefs because he's one of the best guards in football, and they've kept him on their team. They got Creed Humphrey re-signed at the center. It keeps that core together. They got Tooney under contract.
Yep. Just work on the tackles.
They got to find a tackle so Tooney doesn't have to play tackle, and then you're back to that strength on the inside again. And that's going to be the key if they want to be successful again, which I think they can be. They need solid line.
I've got my thoughts on that.
I'm torn on the Chiefs. I honestly think they could be a better team next year with a worse win record.
Yes,
but they'll be a better all-round team. They'll be more capable of winning a Super Bowl next year.
Yeah,
which is wild to think when they went for we all know they were the worst 15-2 team in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, everyone knows my thoughts on that.
Yeah, they got a lot of things going.
I think the teams in that division are definitely closing the gap.
I think so too. With Denver and the Chargers, yeah, the gap's closing, so it's going to get tougher. But what we know,
Pete Carroll in that division now too. Like, there's no more easy wins now in that division.
But I would prefer to get off
the talent. The talent at the Raiders at the moment is a lot less than the other two.
I 100% agree. But what I know for sure, with a Pete Carroll coach team, they're coming on Sunday ready to play.
Oh, no one knows that more than me.
And
I've
they're
watched
going
it
to
for
play
years.
hard.
Yep.
And they're going to hit you in the fucking mouth.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready to play.
Yep.
And it's not going to be like a walkover where you're going to beat them 30-0.
That's very true.
You're going to have to play football.
Yeah, 100%. And he's going to get guys like Max Crosby playing hard. I
Yeah.
believe that.
And
And
I
if he
think-
doesn't, Max Crosby won't be on the team.
I
He'll
think
trade
that just quickly on the Raiders, like while we're talking about it, like they're slowly going to become like a destination team, like Vegas, stadium, high-end facility, high-end coach, Brady running football operations. Like
Mhm.
they're going to be like they're getting their front. They're getting the pieces right. Like people are going to want to start to go and play there.
Carroll's going to like have a culture.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like he's going to fucking set the tone in the building, and people are like, "Fuck it!" Like, hey, Vegas, no state income tax. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I want to go play.
That's a huge one.
fucking
Yeah.
hell, that's a huge thing,
100%.
man.
Money's big in the NFL.
Yeah,
I don't know
man.
if you guys know that.
No. It's
They like
all
money.
about money.
Yes.
No,
It's all-
50% of your money goes to the tax man in one state, or you could take $2 million less and you get all your money.
all of
You're
it's
like,
yours,
oh,
yeah.
hang on, I'm
and I can go play for Pete Carroll
It
and
breaks
Tom
down.
Brady.
It breaks down for where you actually play the game.
Yeah, I know, but if you play like a lot of
You
games,
play 8 games at home,
you
yeah,
play-
but
that's
it's
still
where
like
you
a
I
play
thought it
trade
was
money.
also where your residence is.
Nah, so
Nah,
it's-
it's got to do with where you
all
play.
apparently NFL or pro sports players tax stuff is so hard to do because
Yeah,
they have
state
to
by
like
state.
designate where they are all the time. And yeah, it's because whatever they earn in whatever state they're playing in dictates the amount of tax they pay.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Fucking
And it's different in every state.
stupid.
That's why
like
they
it's
pay
all
their
different.
business manager 2% of their income and say, "You sort it out, bro.
Sort it out.
I'm gonna go hit that ball."
Yeah,
that's it.
Make sure my tax is paid. That's
Yeah.
all I care about. And let me know how much money I've got to spend on nice
So the
cars.
next big tag is T Higgins, which I'm a
I'm-
little bit surprised that they tagged him.
I think they're tagging to a deal. What this also tells me
it's a
is that
second franchise
Second
tag.
year in a row. Yeah.
So it's
no, it wasn't Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was a tag last year.
I don't
no,
believe
they
so.
couldn't.
Oh,
It was his
no,
second year.
It's T. Higgins.
It was
Yeah,
T.
it's
Higgins.
T. Higgins' second year tag. So I don't think they're going to pay him that tag. I think they're just saying, "Hey, we want you. We're working it out. You're tagged for now.
No,
Fred,
they're not.
He's done."
No. They're not saying we want you. They're saying we've got our quarterback. We fucked up the last one, being Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not letting this one go out the building. Our quarterback wants you, so we will just keep him happy. That's what they're saying.
It's
Yeah.
a case of if they franchise tag him, what they would actually have to pay him in a contract and guaranteed money is more than the franchise tag. So if they franchise tag him, they have to pay him 26 million guaranteed, absolutely. But if he was an open market or if they were starting to do a contract, he would want 40 million guaranteed.
Yeah, 40, 50
Where the
million,
owner
yeah.
can't,
over the years.
the owner, no, guaranteed straight up. The owner doesn't have that money. He's the only owner that's not a billionaire to own an NFL football team.
Right.
That's wild.
So he wants to pay all exclusive. He wants to pay.
Technically, he's a billionaire because
incentives.
his franchise is worth billions.
No, but his
Yeah,
net
but not
worth.
His
like
own-
liquid,
his
like
own
liquid,
liquid
money. Because he needs to put, obviously, we know he's got to put that money in escrow and
Yeah,
whatever.
which
So,
is why Khalil Mack got traded from the
Yeah.
Raiders because Mark Davis couldn't afford to put
is
it
it,
in.
just as a quick side note on the Bengals, do you think it's dumb that Burrow re-signed? That
No,
should've-
it was he
should've
did
just
that.
gone somewhere else?
No, he did that so he could get the guys. He restructured so there's more cap
If I'm
flexibility.
Burrow and I know I'm in a shitty organization and like my owner's cheap and my building shit, like why aren't you just saying like put your because you know if he hits the open market, he's
Oh.
getting fucking retarded amounts of money.
Yeah, but it depends. Do you
And
want to hit the
every
open
team-
market and go to the Raiders? Who would?
Yeah, but he decides where he wants
You
to
go to
He's
the
a
open
free
market,
agent.
yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of the good teams already have quarterbacks. That's
Yeah, but-
why they're good.
Oh, okay, I agree with you.
Yeah,
But they're
but
getting rid of their quarterback for Burrow.
Everyone's on the street for Joe Burrow. Every single quarterback, not named Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, is on the street for Joe
I
Burrow.
think Allen.
Josh Allen. I wouldn't.
And Josh Allen. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Those three teams. So there's 29 other teams calling.
So you
Quick
you
maths.
28.
you'd happily just get rid of Hurts for
For Joe Burrow,
Burrow,
yes.
yeah.
In my opinion, he's the best quarterback in the league.
The only team that won't would be Atlanta because they got Kirk Cousins, obviously.
obviously top five.
Top five.
Top
That's-
five, maybe.
You guys are fucking so funny. That's so funny, bro.
I think we have our first Brock's Corner segment of the
shit.
week. So each week, Brock's going to bring in something that we haven't seen.
Oh,
It's a real risk from the studio
Jesus,
manager,
this is-
JA.
this was
When-
not on the.
When was this discussed and
Okay.
agreed to?
This was discussed last night when we were playing Call of Duty.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So this is Brock's Corner brought to you by Cali Clothing. Make sure you go like our sponsors and all that.
Shout out.
Shout out to Cali Clothing.
Let me get the video up. Let me see if I can do this properly, boys.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
the first one's off.
Give him a break. Give him a break.
All right. Here we go. Couldn't hear you there, but that looks like Shane Gillis after about 15 beers trying to do some kick steps.
Say what you were saying because we couldn't hear you over the music of the video.
That's JA's last time he went out to a nightclub, just making sure everyone knows he's still got it. Didn't have to have his D1s on for it either.
That's very true. You get two drinks into him, and he will remind everyone how good his kick step is.
So is this Brock's Corner just a bunch of dumb shit?
It's something random each week, boys.
Okay,
something random.
It's something you never knew you needed.
Yeah, we might have to review
We've got
that.
time in the off season, but
That guy's
we're probably
also-
scrapping that during the season.
That guy's also the college player who was going to get drafted and then decided to go and work for Barstool Sports.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
who he is. as
Hey,
their
you
offensive
know
line
what?
guy.
He's probably going to make more money in Barstool.
Yeah,
Absolutely would.
he's very funny. He suits Barstool to a
Hey,
T.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm really glad that Brock's Corner is a part of this podcast now.
I am too.
I'm so
I'm a big
happy.
fan of Brock's Corner.
Hey.
Hopefully you can bring like Abby Chatfield stuff to the podcast.
It's only up from here,
After
boys.
that,
Only up
please.
from here. You got to set the bar real low
Please
and just
stop.
go up.
Hey, that's my relationship advice.
Hey.
Set the bar low and you can only go
Undersell,
up.
over deliver. That's what we do here, boys.
Well, that's what Bianca said her relationship advice was too.
That's accurate.
That's Scotty's partner, by the way.
Shut
all right,
up.
Yeah.
let's get to.
Hopefully that's one of the clips that doesn't make the cut.
Oh, you know what? If it doesn't, I'll go in and cut it and personally make the clip.
Yeah, Ripper. This might be my last show.
Mark it down. Mark the time down. 41 minutes, please, bro.
About 41 minutes there, mate. For that clip.
All right, let's get to obviously free agency starts on the 12th, which is next week. It'll be just the day before our next podcast. So
Oh, cool.
That'll be the start of the new year. So we're at the end of the NFL year.
yeah, 100%. Start of the not the new year.
I
in,
like this
the
time.
world.
I like this
No,
time.
well, this
Free
is-
agency time. This
I-
is
My calendar runs off NFL calendar,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's actually the start of the new year. So I'll be celebrating the new year.
So I wish I happened to hear.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd go through just some free agents. We've got the top 20 free agents. We're just going to go through a few
Yeah,
of
let's
them.
go through them, yeah.
Some of them will fly through. Some of them will have a bit more of an in-depth.
Some of them
chat
we
about.
have not heard of yet, so that's
You haven't heard
Oh,
of them?
that's always good.
Which ones haven't you heard of?
Let's,
Like,
Probably-
let's go through.
Probably 11 through to 20.
Brock, where have they gone?
No, they're up here now.
Oh, he's got them up. Sorry. Thanks, Brocky.
Zoom
All
in.
right, let's start with. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Milton Williams isn't the number one free agency prospect in the draft.
Yes, he is. He's listed number one.
Is that that's the Philly Eagles D tackle?
Philly
Yeah?
D tackle.
That
Yeah.
earned himself a lot of money.
Yeah.
In the playoff run. From do you know what we're talking about? We were talking about Huff the other day.
Yep.
Nice,
He was a healthy scratching for the Super Bowl.
Yes.
really okay.
Yeah.
He didn't even play. Now, no one would notice who played because it looked like they were all Lawrence Taylors out there
Yeah,
running
true.
around. But yeah, so Milton Williams, big D tackle out of Philly.
Can you zoom in on that, bro?
I'm working that out.
So
Alright,
he'll, he'll get some money from someone.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so.
Yep.
I think like interior D linemen, the good ones are hard to find. A lot of them don't hit fringe. You can get a lot of mediocre interior linemen, but the best, the top tier ones are hard.
I think
to find.
it's
Free
just,
agencies now become teams are so smart with their cap allocation and future contract extensions and stuff like that the go-to starters don't hit the market anymore. So
Yeah.
now you get you get starter caliber players that could be a second stringer on a very good team.
yeah, that's what I was
that-
going
that
to say.
goes to
I think
a
Williams
lesser
is
team.
just like he's surplus to our needs.
Yes,
That's obviously why he's hit the market.
and he'll get paid.
Because
Yeah.
Howie wouldn't have let him, if he needed him, Howie wouldn't have let him go.
no,
Well,
he knows he's
it's
got plenty
cap
of guys.
constraints. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Eagles' cap ability is it's actually extremely impressive what he does with the cap.
Yeah.
He must have a very good like cap expert in the building because what he
I
does,
think he's got a touch of the tears and
Yeah.
he's all over it
Well,
himself, bro.
because what he does to kick it down the
Essentially,
road is unreal.
exactly.
Also,
They
also
kick it
he's a
down the
little
road.
Jew. Like they're all smart with money. That's how they are.
There it is.
Off seasons. Yep. No, but they do.
That's the first one of the off season.
Am I wrong though?
They are notoriously very
Smart and
Very-
frugal with their money.
very good with money. That's
Yeah.
true.
That's all I'm saying.
Spotify is
It's
just
a
And-
cultural
and
now.
if there's
It's a
any in the
cultural
chat
thing.
that disagree, let us know.
Let us
It's a
know.
cultural thing. It's just part of it.
Mark Zuckerberg's going to message us this week.
Yeah.
So Milton second one, Ronnie Stanley, the offensive tackle from the Ravens.
Yeah.
He'll
Brock,
get paid.
I want to get your thoughts on this. Surely they're bringing him back.
Yeah, we have to bring him back. There's no one else we can sort of go get or draft this year.
Yeah.
We'd have no one else. We have to bring him back for at least another 2 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they'll pay him kind of whatever he wants. I think some of these guys won't actually hit free agency either. Is the tag still open? Can you still tag guys, or have they closed it now?
No,
I think
you can
it's
still
finished.
tag.
Yeah, so it's still. I thought it was still like 2 days before free agency. It might be
Mm.
Sunday night our time.
I thought it was finished too.
Oh, wow,
I think it's
okay.
finished. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Brock can look that up. We're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rodney Stanley. If I was a betting man, I'd bet he's back at the Ravens. I don't think
Yeah.
they let him walk out the building.
No.
But again, if you hit free agency and a massive offer, he might get an offer so big that the Ravens are like, sorry, man. Like, we literally cannot afford to pay you that money on our cap and all that sort of stuff. So, tackles are hard to find.
Chiefs will have him.
Seattle will have him.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
think the Chiefs would be absolutely licking their chops again. If they get him in and then move Tooney back to guard, that O-line becomes extremely good.
That's what I'm saying.
So I think he's open.
And you and I, we've always said this, like a Premier left tackle solves all your O-line problems.
It solves a lot of them. It certainly helps in a big way.
Yeah.
Brock, when's tags close?
July 15th.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. So you can tag them anytime up to then and work out a long-term deal. If not, they play on the 1-year deal.
That can't be right because you can't tag them because they would have already hit free agency on March 12th. That can't be possible.
Disregard March 4th.
March 4th, sorry. So it's closed.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Oh, fuck. I don't know why I doubted myself.
It didn't make sense to me.
Story of your life.
Yeah, so it's closed. Yeah,
Yeah.
stop doubting yourself, man.
Yeah.
You know, you should motivate. You should listen to some bro podcasts and just get some
That
confidence.
is not
back.
my style.
Can you please stop, Jason?
Yes, I can.
Zach, I've got an interesting one with Zach Bourne, who's
No, so
number 3.
he's been re-signed.
They re-signed Zach
Yeah, he's
Bourne.
been re-signed. I'm sure of this.
No, there was.
I think they
rumours
offered
of it.
him.
No, I thought it was a done deal like 2 weeks ago.
No. They said there was rumors they were going to pay him 3 years, 45 million.
I'm
But-
certain
but
he's been re-signed. Can you check that, please, Brock?
But he never got re-signed. He 100% never got re-signed. He's a free agent. So I think he should go back to the Eagles. I think the Eagles are stupid and he's stupid if he goes anywhere else.
I'm
Do you
almost
think
certain
that the Eagles think that it could be like a flash in the pan?
Nah, definitely not. I'm certainly got re-signed. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
No, he didn't get re-signed. I'm telling you. It was rumored what they're going to offer
I
him.
think
but
the
he
contract
never,
came out,
but he
yeah.
never got the offer. He never accepted an offer.
So he's testing free agency to see. If
I think
he can
that's
cash
what he'll
in.
do. My feeling with this, Zach Bourne will test free agency. The
And
Eagles,
and
unless
come
it's
back,
some out, because I don't think anyone's going to go and offer him, like 30 million a year or something like that. 'Cause
No.
he's had one good year. He's 28 years old. He's not young,
Yeah.
and that's old for linebackers too.
Mm.
Like off-ball linebackers don't play into their late 30s unless you're the very rare type of,
Sure.
Bobby Wagner and those sorts of guys.
But even then, he's an inside linebacker, and then you're only really paying them somewhere between 14 and 16.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think Zach Bourne's on McQueen or Smith.
Roquan Smith money.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
That he's-
I think Roquan Smith's only on 20 million. It sounds outrageous to say only, but I think he's
And
the highest paid
him and Fred
linebacker at
Warner
20 million.
are probably the two best linebackers.
Yeah. And then off last year, Zach Bourne was right up there with both of them.
Well, he was first team
played-
All-Pro,
Yeah, he
like,
played at an
yeah.
outstanding level. But the conversation's going to be, well, he's had one good year.
Yeah.
He's had 7 years in the NFL and has never really been good. He's had
Mm.
one good year in our system. I think he's crazy if he doesn't go back to the Eagles.
Agreed.
I think he should. I think he should test the market, see what they're paying. And if the Eagles offer a couple million less, take it because he won't be cut in a year.
They haven't re-signed him yet, but the Saquon Barkley deal helps them actually get him in this year.
Yeah, because there's more. They release more cap.
Yeah.
Actually, should we mention that now? Saquon Barkley signed a 2-year extension for $42 million today, which makes him the highest paid running back. He's got $36 million guaranteed.
Mm.
So basically, they've guaranteed him the 2 years of that contract. It's backs onto his contract. Was he a 2-year deal or 1-year deal?
That was a 2-year deal.
2-year
Yeah.
deal. So he's got 4. He's got 3 years left on his contract now, and the last 2 years will be
Almost fully guaranteed.
about 20 million a year and fully guaranteed. But he'll get that money now. Obviously, you'll get the 36 million in his pocket
Yeah,
now.
but we're basically paying him up front.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that's a great move. But you have to reward a guy like that,
100%.
and it's great for the running back market. It's great for it.
Yeah.
Running backs should be getting paid more. It's ridiculous that they don't. The top guys should be paid a lot of money.
Yeah. At that level, they do need to be getting paid more.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree. You can't have Derrick Henry earning 12 million a year and Robert Hunt earning 22 million at the Panthers to play guard.
Mm.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me. The best player, maybe one of the best running backs ever in Derrick Henry, that can't get as much money as a average
Yeah, but
guard.
on the flip side to that, there's so many good running backs in this draft that guys that are like that have a 5th and 6th draft rating, would be like a 2nd or 3rd rounder last year or the previous year.
Yeah.
So if you're a team and you got all the cap in front of you and you're like, hang on, this guy, we can have him team control and pay him a couple of mil a year, or we pay a veteran $6 million. Like,
Yeah, I get it. I get why
Saquon's
the-
obviously you reward him after being elite, but the drop off after the top 5 are pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, that's what
really.
I'm saying. Like, the elite guys should be getting paid well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. But then after that, it's kind of like,
The top 5, they're not moving after. Like, who's the 7th best running back in the league? Like, you reckon they're not interchangeable? You reckon a draft guy's not coming in?
Aaron Jones, maybe.
Yeah, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, somewhere around those guys, just off the top of my head.
I mean, Kenneth Walker last year. I mean, Seattle, like Charbonnet came in and outperformed him.
Yeah, true. When he was injured, yeah.
So it's fairly interchangeable at that point. So I don't think it resets the market that much.
Yeah.
No. The next guy, this is a good discussion too, is Sam Darnold. I
interesting.
am so, and again, I'm gonna give a free plug to Bill Simmons' podcast because he needs it clearly from us. But he had Peter Schrager on and they talked about, and the topic was that at the combine, Schrager was talking to a lot of the GMs and stuff like that, and the interest in Sam Darnold because of 8 days of football, which was the last 2 games of the season. In 8 days, he basically plummeted his stock because I'm seeing ghost Sam Darnold. They thought it was gone, but then they saw it again. And then teams that aren't as talented, that need quarterbacks, teams like the Giants, Browns, those sorts of teams, the Colts,
Raiders,
start looking, going, well, we're not nearly as talented as that Vikings offense. What tells us that this guy's going to be successful in our offense?
Do you know why
that's a good
I'll
point.
push back on that? Is because we were just half an hour ago saying these teams are desperate for a quarterback and your quarterback changes your team around. We've just seen someone in the NFL level throw for 4,000 yards and dice up 16 teams, and then 2 teams just smoked them. There's going to be a team out there that doesn't get a Shador, a Jackson Dart, or a Cam Ward, and they go, all right, well, we still need to get asses into the seats. We'll give Darnold 35 to 40 mil, and we'll, 3-year contracts, guarantee the first 2 years, and cut him if he's no good.
Sure.
He will definitely. This is the team's trying to drop his value down, but someone will pay for him.
I just don't think he's going to get 50 million like we thought at one point last year.
No, he probably played himself out of 50 million a year, but he will definitely get 40.
I'm surprised that the Vikings aren't bringing him back.
Well, they might.
I'm not.
No, you're not. Why is that, Scott?
There were 2 reasons. You've got your guy on team control for the next 4 years with an option. And then why would you pay a backup and then have the quarterback controversy if either Sam Darnold's not playing well and JJ's not ready, or if JJ's in and not playing well and you got Darnold on the bench?
Sure.
You don't want to have that animosity in the building and in the fan base and in the media.
Sure.
So you just cut ties with it, and then you can reallocate all that money for what's the cap hit for the year on the actual cap? 20, 25, 30 million?
For Darnold.
Yeah, it would be. It'll be about that.
Around 30 million.
Depending on how if it's a 1 year deal, it could be all of it. It could be all 40 million.
So you've got 2 quality starters tied up to a person on the bench.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
So they're thin at DB, and all their DBs and safeties testing free agency, I believe. So you need to buy starters, and you can't buy starters if you're paying a quarterback.
You're paying your backup $40 million.
So he's gone. He has to go.
And if the plan a year ago was that they're drafting McCarthy with pick 9 and he's the man, if that's your plan and that's the direction you were going in at that point, there's no reason they couldn't enjoy what Darnold did last year. And Kevin O'Connell loved him and it was great and we all enjoyed it. But the plan doesn't, if the plan is, because these teams don't work on a 1 year plan, they work on a 3-4 year plan.
5 to 5, even
so,
10 year plans.
So if their plan was JJ McCarthy, and from all, Darnold saved them last year from being a crap team. He saved them with his play. So in their mind, they're like, well, why can't McCarthy do that? He can play as well. We think he's as good as Darnold.
They traded 2 draft picks to get him.
Yeah, we think he's as good as Darnold. Why don't we?
I guess the other point is if he didn't get injured, we wouldn't have seen any of this from Darnold because he wouldn't have even been playing. So that's a fair point.
Or maybe only 4 to 5 weeks. I think that the Vikings are probably an organization where Darnold starts a year, McCarthy learns a little bit, and then sort of like a Patriots. My guy, I can't remember.
Drake May.
Yeah,
it would have been interesting last year if they'd started Darnold and McCarthy didn't get hurt because Darnold was going to be the starter, and then he played really well. It would have created a real interesting scenario,
and that's why you can't have him in the building.
And it's probably why you can't do it next year. Yeah, I look
with a fit, healthy McCarthy. Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't love it if. My theories are if a quarterback plays so well for you, you should keep them playing so well for you. But if the money's not there and you need to spend that money
who's your pick?
elsewhere,
Where does he go?
Probably the Colts. He can't go back to the Jets. That's not going to happen.
That's not even on the agenda. No way.
The Giants and he's not waiting until after the draft, Sam Darnold.
Nor should he.
So the Giants and the Titans are both going to say, well,
We're
let's
waiting.
draft a guy on a team-controlled deal. Let's do that. Let's not spend all our money.
Year
on
one
this
of the
guy.
rebuild. Yeah.
So it's probably going to go to like a team that feels they're a strong offense that's a quarterback away from being successful. I don't think the Colts are that talented in offense, but they're talented enough that I think they could convince themselves that.
Do you think they're done with the Richardson experience right now?
We will know. We will know if they go for Sam Darnold.
They were a fringe playoff team with Richardson and Flacco.
Yeah, so they probably
sure.
Then
Donald elevates
if you get Darnold in the building, Richardson's gone. That's done.
It has to be.
You can't have both.
Yeah, because you're not signing. You're signing Darnold as your starter.
Yeah,
and he's probably going to get a Baker sort of deal with the pro rata.
You're signing him to like a medium term deal. Like it's got to be like a 3-year deal.
3 years. Thing, yeah. 3 years, 40 million. I think is what he'll get around that mark.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's the Raiders.
Raiders wouldn't shock me. Pete Carroll, I think he would think he could work with him again. I don't think that's a good move for Darnold. I don't think that's
why he plays in the dome.
I just don't think that offense is talented enough for him to be successful. I think he needs an ultra talented offense for him to do what he did last year. And there's just not a lot of those teams, unfortunately, that haven't got a quarterback already.
Yeah, that need a quarterback. Yeah.
So it's going to be very like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh are maybe a team that could convince him.
New Orleans, maybe.
New Orleans, again, they've got no money.
Well, that's very true. And they've already come back and said that Carr's their guy. So
because they can't cut him. They'd be cutting him and eating more cap for a guy that's not going to play. Like they have to just go with him. They've got no choice.
Roll with him and hope he's good.
Whether they like him or not, they literally don't have a choice. They're going to hope that Chris Olave's healthy and these receivers are all healthy, and then they can be okay. Like everyone forgets the week 1 and 2 New Orleans Saints last year.
Yeah, they scored 90 points in the first 2 weeks.
It was a Cinderella run. It was such a good run.
Yeah, well, they literally,
but it was good.
They went healthy to the most injured team in a week, and it's just like, you see the difference between a third string and a starter. Yeah,
100%.
So they're backing that they can have all those guys back in Cark. They can pick up where that lightning struck, which we all think lightning struck, but I guarantee you those teams don't think that way. They don't think lightning struck. They think, wow, we were so good, and then injuries destroyed our season. 100%. And you know what? It's not unfair based off what happened. Like there's a 2 week span that could tell us.
Yeah, well, Clint Kubiak's at Seattle now, and there's a few other reasons that I think New Orleans are definitely not going to be that good.
Yeah, where did Kellen Moore sign again?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. He's going to be the head coach. Yeah. I think you'll do okay there.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's a death sentence.
Yeah, the hardest part with New Orleans.
You've got no talent, no cap, and you've got an owner that has no idea that fires guys.
I don't think no talent is fair. Like Kamara's very good. Chris Olave is very
29.
Good. Yeah, like
Olave's got nothing but concussion issues.
They have a good offensive line. Like the best place for Darnold to go would be Miami, but obviously Tua's signed long term.
Yes.
That'd be a perfect scenario.
Yep.
Hot weather, great receivers. That would be it. The best place for him to be would be Minnesota, but I don't think it's going to happen now. If they really wanted him, they would have tagged him. They would have not let him out the building.
Yeah, agreed.
That would have been the move. Tag him.
That's going to be really interesting to play out. See what happens.
It could really hurt the Vikings if McCarthy's crap and Darnold goes and is really good. Yeah, we talked about forever.
Like if he goes to the Colts and throws 40 touchdowns next year, which he could easily do,
almost
at the Colts.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting.
It's a ballsy move by the Vikings. I don't hate it. I think they're sticking to their guns and what their plan was. But
I think
it could really backfire.
I think Pittsburgh have to go for it, don't they?
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh will feel they're a quarterback away.
Yeah. The issue with the Saints is they're still paying Jameis Winston next year another $7 million.
I think they're paying about 6 blokes not on the team next year.
Yeah.
I think they've still got Lattimore.
Jameis just collecting checks, mate. He doesn't give a fuck, bro.
I love Jameis Winston.
It's impossible to hate him.
Off-season, Jameis has won me back over.
Yeah.
I hate when he talks, then I have to watch him play, and then he ruins it when I watch him play.
Yeah, that's what I've said all along. I wish he was good. I wish he was like as good as Josh Allen and that much of a character. How fucking good would it be?
But even when you watch him play, you don't know if you're going to get 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, or 100 yards and 4 interceptions.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're going to get, so you have to watch it.
Part of the fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I buy in.
Definitely getting 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
It just depends what else you get.
He was legally blind.
It's like an 8-car.
Let the boy live. He couldn't read the scoreboard.
It's an 8-car pile up. You know it's bad, but you can't not look. You have to look, man.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
All right, let's start. We'll do a bit of a rapid fire with these guys.
Let's go through them.
Josh Sweat earned himself a shit ton of money in the playoffs.
I think he'll go to a bad team and look average.
I think he'll go to a bad team for big money. And like similar to the other Sweat who got traded to Chicago.
Yeah, he's an absolute
He's-
gun though.
He's okay. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a gun. He wouldn't be a top 10 DN. The other Sweat. What's the other Sweat's name? Because they're not related.
JJ.
No, that's JJ Watt. You think?
No.
I can't remember the other Sweat. I think Josh Sweat goes to a bad team for big money, and I don't hate it either.
No,
You've
not at
earned
all.
it. You played well in the playoffs. Get whoever's offering you the most
Take
money.
that bag,
it.
homeboy, 100%.
And then probably plays average, gets cut after a year or two because the money's so high, and then ends up back at it's Montez Sweat,
Montez,
and then ends up back at the Eagles for another Super Bowl run. Chris Goodwin obviously
Unlucky
blew his knee
ACL,
out.
yeah.
I just think he goes back to Tampa on
I
a
think so,
one-year deal.
yeah.
yeah, I think so too.
Why not?
He's going to be obviously slow to get back into it. He
Yeah.
knows the system. He knows
He
what
lives
it's about.
there.
Yeah, like what's the point? Just he'll test, see what it's offered.
He'll be on a
and then-
team-friendly deal.
Yeah, and
that'll
I
be
think
fine.
the Bucks will be like, "Hey, the Panthers are offering you that. We'll give you the same."
Yeah.
That's
I
fine.
just don't think there's going to be a market for him.
No, and there's no benefit for him leaving.
No.
He can rehab in the building that he knows with the people he knows.
What do you
around
think?
him.
What do you think he gets? What sort of deal do you think he gets?
I bet 10.
Yeah, I was
Eight-
going to
eight,
think
10 million, yeah.
8 to 10.
Maybe like a 1 year prove it, and then
100% 1 year.
Yeah,
and then
and
he'll
then
back that he can get one more big deal.
Yeah,
But he's getting. How old's Chris Godwin? Just
I
out
think
of
he's like
curiosity.
28 or 29.
Yeah,
I think he's 28,
yeah, I think he's in,
29,
definitely. Is he? I think he's younger than Mike Evans.
Yes,
yeah?
he is. Yeah.
That's
Carlton Davis.
Carlton Davis.
Well,
Okay.
he's next on the list. Overrated.
Why do you hate Carlton Davis so much?
He's just
29.
29. There you go. So he's hitting. Yeah, he's hitting.
the danger
Yeah,
zone.
he's hitting the danger. I think a 1 year deal at the Bucks is perfect.
Sorry.
That's a great song.
wow, I wasn't ready for you to
Yeah.
break out in song, bro.
bit of Kenny. Haven't you heard Scotty's work on the package and the P?
Nah, Carlton Davis, he's just overrated. He's yappy. He holds all the time. And when you hold all the time and you get a penalty, like if you had half a brain, you'd just be like, yeah, cool. Like I get away with it 8 times out of 10.
yeah,
But he's just
Whatever, yeah.
an absolute fucking nitwit. And
I don't know you hate Carlton Davis so much.
he just like,
I like this. I like
This is
this.
a good character.
We
arc.
need more of this.
but like he's not good enough to have that attitude that hurts your team every time.
Yeah.
He's a liability on the field. And I'm sure there's some Lions / Tampa Bay fans that are coming at me, but he's a spastic.
All right, and I also reckon the next two guys are better than Carlton Davis, which is Shavarius Ward, who we have to just tell a bit of
It's
the
just
story
sad
of
that
why.
what happened to him. Yeah.
His son or his daughter, sorry, had
Passed
a
away.
bad heart issue.
Yep.
She passed away in San Fran
During the season.
during the season. He can't stay there. It's like a mental thing for him now.
Yep.
He didn't play the rest of the season because him and his wife couldn't be in the city where she passed away, which I can understand that.
Yep.
And then he couldn't be there without his wife because that was like his security blanket with what was going on with his child passing away.
It's pretty fucking
So
tragic. to
It's
be honest.
horrible.
Yeah.
So he's going to go to the other side. The best thing is predicting him. It's going to be on the East Coast.
Yeah,
He's going to get to the other side of the country and try and fresh start
Definitely
where he
not
can
in
get away.
division.
No,
Yeah.
not in division.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a Patriots, maybe someone like that's got a
Yeah.
bit of money. He's a very good player, and I think he'll be fine.
Probably-
I appreciate the 49ers actually being like, go, we get it.
sure.
Yeah.
He's probably on the twilight of it. as
Yeah,
well.
he's got.
So,
I reckon he's got a couple of years.
yeah. I think the best years are sort of past him. He's probably at the twilight of his peak.
Yeah.
But
because corner's hard. Like you lose a step.
yes. Yeah.
challenging.
He's been a very good player, and it's terrible circumstances. I'm sure he wanted to finish his career at the 49ers.
Does
but-
he go to a contending East Coast team,
Yeah,
like
potentially.
a Baltimore?
Oh,
or
well, you're
something like
trying to claim another defender, are you? Well, you cut Slay.
Did you guys cut Slay?
that? No, Bradbury.
No, you cut Slay today.
You definitely cut Slater.
You,
today.
Oh, I missed
Staves
that.
about 4. You
You
don't even
okay?
follow
I
your own.
missed that. I
Are
missed
you
that.
okay? Do you want to cry?
Do you know how
now or
busy
later?
I've been in the last couple of weeks? I'm still
Oh
on top
yeah,
of.
and I'm just sitting around twiddling my fucking thumbs, Scott.
Well, it sounds like
Hey,
it.
George, why the animosity? You're the one that missed the big news at the Eagles, not us.
You're asking me what the animosity.
I am animosity.
We've been friends for 16 years,
Yeah.
bro.
You're right. The animosity is the mirror. I also think Shavarius Ward, he could go back to the Chiefs. That's where
Sure.
he played.
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
That'd be a great fit. He'd be comfortable. I think, trying to think
Go back to
holistically for him.
home,
Go back
sort of
where he's
thing.
comfortable and
Yeah.
feels safe. Because
That's probably a safe bet.
I
yeah.
can't imagine what it's like losing a child. I hope I never,
Oh,
ever,
yeah.
ever fucking know what
Yeah.
that's like.
That's
but-
not even a discussion.
Where-
I have.
I
We're
just hope
dads
he, I
and-
hope he finds
yeah.
some. I hope he finds some solace in wherever he goes.
Family's
And he's
bigger than
just-
football.
and
So.
he's just happy. DJ Reed, the Jets cut him, which I thought was wild. He actually played really well last year.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get decent money, probably 12 million. Again, he'll go to some sort of contending team because
Why didn't that cut him for?
because they're just trying to cut. They're trying to cut money.
Yeah, fair.
They've got no cap.
Well, he dropped off a little bit as well. He's a little bit of a flash in the pan
Was
at
he
Seattle.
Seattle? Yeah.
It was a bit of a flash in the pan in Seattle, and he had one really good year at the Jets, and he dropped off a little bit last year.
Yeah, I did say they did cut Slay. You're right. Obviously,
Oh,
clearing up.
you only just saw that.
Are you all right?
Just,
You okay?
I'm fine. They're obviously clearing up money trying to get Garrett in the building.
If Myles Garrett gets traded to the Eagles, I'm making the rule now. We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
You can talk about it.
Oh,
We're
fuck
not. I'll give you
We've
3
had-
minutes of mic time on your own.
It's okay, George.
Far too much Eagles talk
I
over the
might do my
last
own
2 months.
podcast for
I'll
an
bring it
hour
up in
just
Brock's
talking about
corner.
it.
It's fine. I'll bring it up in Brock's
Thank you,
corner for you,
Brock.
mate.
Brock's
I
corner.
gotcha.
Brock's a real friend.
Carry
Brock's
on.
corner might not come back.
Fuck Myles Garrett.
The next one's Devonta Adams. We've discussed him.
Yeah.
We've talked about him.
Amari Cooper's.
Amari Cooper's an interesting one
Yeah,
because
yeah.
more reports he was very dinged up last year. I kind of think he's got not a lot of value. He's jumped around from team to team the last few years. He's been
Dropped off a little bit.
productive in spurts.
Yep.
Often injured. I think.
I think he's a fine number 3 if you've got an established 1 and 2.
Yeah, like back at the Bills would be fine if he's healthy. I think he
Well,
goes to.
I don't think the Bills have a 1. I like Keen Coleman, but he just doesn't have the traits as a number 1 receiver.
No, like
He's like a Mike Williams sort of esque.
yeah, that's a fair
tall,
comparison. Yeah,
speedy.
He's 30
catch
years
radius.
in, and
Yeah.
he's 30 years old, and he's 10 years into his career.
yeah. I think he's going to get
It's coming real
a
fast.
like a bit above vet min for a good team.
Yeah.
He's just going to play for a team where he thinks he can win. I think that's going to be.
You know what? If he goes to Kansas City, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think Kansas City, Buffalo, maybe
Yeah.
the Ravens is like their third guy there with
Yep.
Flowers and Bateman, something like that. Someone like that. Maybe back to the Cowboys. That'd be great. Jerry will pay him $40 million.
Chargers will make a call.
Chargers would be a good one. He'd be fine there. Next one's Drew Dalman, the center. He was from Atlanta. I think Atlanta should
Best center in
the free agency. He's going to get some good O-line. Centers
Notre
are
Dame guy.
notoriously hard to find.
he's incredibly smart. Is he a Stanford guy actually?
He might be Stanford. I think
Yeah,
he was
he's a
Stanford.
Stanford guy.
Yeah.
So he's incredibly smart. He will get money.
I think teams. I said centers. The value for a center is incredible. It was Stanford, Brocky. Yeah, Stanford guy. So
I know fucking
You know college,
weird
yeah?
shit about football.
College expert.
you- stop. Turn around now.
Stop.
Next one's Byron Murphy again. A
Burnt on toast.
mid
See you later.
corner. Dre Greenlaw is one I want to discuss.
Yes.
Because
Interesting.
at his peak was compared to the linebacker you were talking about before. I've forgotten his name. Not Niners linebacker.
Wagner.
Wag-
Not Warner.
Warner. He was held as like these two are the best off-ball
Yes.
linebackers in football. He tore his Achilles running off the sideline in a
Super
Super
On the
Bowl,
Super Bowl, yeah.
which was devastating. He missed most of this season. He came back late when the season was over.
It's hard to get back in at
Yeah.
that point. I
So-
think when you have an injury, and I think he's a little bit older, he might be at like 27.
Yeah.
Best years might be past him, but I think it would be a valuable pickup for a team.
I think he will be like a steal of the draft sort of guy, a steal of free agency. Someone will get him on a low like six to eight
Yeah.
million sort of deal.
Yep.
And he'll play at a really
and he'll be
high
an all
level.
pro. Yeah.
like Shazier's been, like he was for the Texans last year, like a low
Ooh.
signing that played at a high-ish level.
Yeah,
He'll
he'll
be an
outplay.
all-pro
Played
or a
above his
pro bowler.
dollar value.
Yeah,
but
he'll
played much better
outperform his
than his
contract.
value.
Yep.
Next guy's Jevon Holland. He's been safety for the Dolphins.
Yep.
Again, he's the best safety in the draft. He's going to get someone.
Free
Get him.
agency.
He'll get something. The next guy I want to
Nick
discuss
Bolton's
is Nick Bolton.
very interesting.
Because I think the Chiefs should be doing everything to get this guy back. He was the only player in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. That played at a high
I've been
level.
on Team Bolton for the whole time. He's a phenomenal.
If they let him leave the building, they're fucking nuts.
He won't leave. That you know what they're doing. They would turn around and be like, "What your contract is in free agent, we'll pay that."
Yeah, I think so too. I
And
think they're
inside
letting him test and
linebackers,
sign.
Like your best deal. This is your best offer. We'll match it.
Yeah. And inside linebackers, you're looking at, like I said, Roquan Smith's at 20 million. The tier below, like what's the Seattle one? Everett Jones.
Yeah, Everett Jones. Yeah, Everest Jones.
Everest Jones. He's probably he's slightly behind Nick Bolton. He's a free agent as well. They're probably both going to get that 16 to 14 million a year. Fine. Perfect.
Yeah, I think Nick Bolton, if the Chiefs let him leave, they're stupid. And if teams don't go and throw money at him to try and get him, because
Yeah.
I think he's that good.
Yes.
He's so athletic. He's such a good tackler.
Yep.
I just think the Chiefs need to keep him. Or if the Chiefs lose him, that is a massive dint to their defense
Yeah,
next year.
agreed.
Huge.
Agreed.
Huge. Like one guy they cannot afford to lose is him and Chris Jones. I think they're the two guys they can't afford to lose. Obviously, they won't lose Chris Jones.
No, he's signed up for a long time.
I'll skip the last guy I want to talk about because this one's interesting. Justin Fields. My question for you guys, is he a starter?
Yes. I still like Fields. I think
In the right system, yes.
Yeah.
well, he hasn't been in a system that can ever like showcase what he can do. Sure, there's inconsistencies with passing and all that. The Bears had terrible coaching, and Arthur Smith is a terrible coach. He's a run-first dinosaur.
He also went 5-1 on Pittsburgh
He
and
did.
played okay and then never got an opportunity again.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I was gonna
Russell
say.
Wilson played okay, but
That's what I was going
for
to say.
about
When he's had,
4
had his
weeks.
opportunity to start,
Yeah.
he looked okay.
yes.
He didn't look awful. He wasn't the reason they, like he kept him in games, didn't lose them the game.
No.
And yeah, like I think he's talented enough to be a starter.
Yep.
What Brock said is correct. The situation needs to be right around him in terms of coaching and scheme and talent level.
Yep.
But yeah, he's definitely good enough to be a starter in the NFL. Now, will he? That's another point.
Do you think if you're a top 7 or 10 team, this is the issue that we spoke about it before, that free agency should be after the draft.
100% it should be. It's ridiculous.
But if you're the Giants or I don't know, someone else, do you pay 30? What do you give him? 30 million for 2 years?
I think Fields might be a guy that's signed post-draft and it's like a Minshew deal, 15 million.
Yeah, 15 is.
Paying
I
him as a
think
high-tier backup.
I don't know.
I don't think the value. It's very clear that he's not that valued because the Pittsburgh after he went 5-1 didn't value him.
Yeah,
They could have easily stuck with him and said, "Hey, no, he's our guy."
Yeah, because
We're gonna
he
stick with
did
him.
win games. Like
And that's what teams historically do when quarterbacks win games. They back them winning over how well they played, right?
But Pittsburgh's a weird one because Tomlin said at the start of the year, he's our starter. He didn't do anything to lose his job.
Yeah.
So injury lost his job, so he comes back as the starter.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's fair.
So like Tomlin has that strong locker room presence.
That also happened to Tony Romo, and he didn't get his job back from Prescott.
Yeah. At the twilight of his career. Well, so it's
Very similar.
yeah.
Like that's what I mean. Like and that was the team he'd been on his whole career for Romo. It wasn't like
Yeah.
it was his first year. So I think Pittsburgh had a chance to show that they valued him, and they really didn't. And I think we're going to see that the rest of the league don't really value him, and he's going to go to a team as a high-paid backup, maybe 20 million, something like that.
or so, as like a stopgap.
And it's
type
going
deal,
to be a let's give him a 1-year deal and see if he can Darnold it. And if he does, then someone else can pay him.
I know
the big money.
your point's valid because they've got him in the building, so they
Yeah.
know who he is. They know what makes him tick, and then for them to say like, "Nah, don't worry about it."
But I
And they
also
still have a quarterback.
I'll also question Pittsburgh's ability to evaluate quarterbacks.
Well, they can't draft him.
Well, exactly. Like they get Kenny Pickett in the first round.
Yeah.
The Russell Wilson in the twilight of his career.
It
Like-
also wouldn't surprise me if he went back to Pittsburgh.
I think at Pittsburgh it's a very poor fit for him.
I don't think it is either, but that might be his best value because again, he's been in the building. It'll tell us everything what Pittsburgh think about him when free agency starts.
I think they're gunning for Rodgers or another.
I'd
big
rather
name.
Darnold.
Or like Darnold or
Yeah.
someone like that.
Would you prefer Justin Fields or Daniel Jones?
That's interesting.
I think Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Justin Fields.
I think I'd rather Justin Fields because I think Daniel Jones, his limitations are worse than Fields.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is a very good athlete too, but he's not the same athlete as Justin.
But I think Fields Daniel Jones has shown that he's not a great passer, and he's had Dable and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Fields can throw the ball down the field.
Fields can
He
throw
move
the ball. There's moments where you look at Fields and you're like, oh, it's clicked. You can see why this is why he's
There's
drafted
a few
so
games
high.
at the end of his stint
Chicago.
in Chicago
He was
when
very
like
good.
that too. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. You're like, oh fuck, he's got something. Like
Yeah, he's definitely going to be one of the last chips to fall at quarterback though.
I forgot he was a free agent.
Yeah, so I think Darnold will get decided. Then I think a lot of teams will wait for
Rodgers.
bit of a shame how it's all shaken out for Fields too, because like I said, I like Fields. I think
Yeah.
he seems like a good kid. He doesn't phone it in. He tries hard.
I just don't know if he's that good.
Yeah,
Is he better than Anthony Richardson at the Colts?
yeah.
I think he's probably better.
He is better.
if he got with Steichen,
He can
that could
read
be
it. He can read a fucking defense for starters.
Yeah.
Like, Richardson can't even do that.
or he doesn't take himself off the field and quit on his team.
That's true.
Which Fields never done that.
Well, I think he's.
I think that was the jump the shark moment for Richardson. Like that was him done in the NFL. Like tapping out, he's done. I'm telling you now, he's that.
Certainly not a good look. Hasn't been a good look. The fact that the Colts are openly saying,
And
they're looking for a
I've kept that receipt, and all he is are going to say I was right.
Oh,
because
yeah.
He won't be starting for the Colts this year. I'm telling you now.
I think I said by week 3 next year, I'll tell you if you're right or you're wrong. We'll know everything by week 3.
He won't be starting. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's trending that way with the fact that Colts are
I
shopping for a
still
quarterback.
think he was hurt through last season's off season. I think you got to give him the full off season healthy to work on his biomechanics, to work with the team, develop all that chemistry. You got to give him that chance because he's so raw and it's against him already.
Yeah, I think next year's the make or break for him.
Yes,
By
I agree
week
with that.
3,
I
we
agree
will
with that.
absolutely know if he's
You
gonna be a
also
quarterback
don't want to
in the NFL.
be. You don't want to be the team that gives up on someone like him. What if he turns into a Michael Vick
True.
and he just tears up the NFL for 7 years, and you go, "Oh, we gave up after him for 3 years." You'd rather die by that pick than give it away. And
You have
not
to ride it out.
Yeah.
You have to ride out that pick.
No, I think teams are a bit more quick to move on these days, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
You cut your losses, you move on.
like yeah, right. The argument is that the Jets shouldn't have moved on from Darnold. The Jets 100% should have moved on from Darnold.
Yes.
He was a terrible quarterback there.
Yeah.
He was so terrible that then the next team moved on from him, and then the next team, and then he
But
ended up okay.
Also, the traits are so different.
Yes, true.
It's
Yeah.
so much easier to work with someone that has all this athletic ability and a super cannon as an arm.
I've said this before that this will be the catalyst now from teams moving away from these project quarterbacks. They're going to move away from them. Like,
No,
they
they
just
won't,
can't.
'cause
They
No,
can't.
it's Cam
Cam
Ward.
Ward's going to go number 1.
Yeah.
They can't risk them that high. Now, Cam Ward's a better quarterback than
Yes,
Rich.
agreed.
Better
Much
passer.
better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Not as athletic.
Yeah, but that's
Well, that's what you're saying. They're going to move away from the athletic.
Yeah,
trait
they're
of
from
the
that
quarterback.
project athlete to
Yeah.
make him a quarterback.
Or
Like,
you get
his job is to throw the fucking ball.
Well,
Like, he's got to
Jalen-
be good at it.
Jalen Milroe's a perfect example. He's not touted as a first round talent. I think teams may have learnt their lesson
That's
from
what I'm saying. Yeah,
You take a punt on that guy around 3.
yeah.
Get him in the building for a few years, work it
See
out.
what happens.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, it's a 3rd round pick or a low or a high 2nd round pick. Like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, we took a shot. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
We're not going to draft him 4 and then he's out of the league in 2 years. Like, that's
Yeah.
fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's it for us this week. Free agency starts. It'll start next Tuesday, our time, I believe. Maybe
Yes.
even Wednesday. It'll be like Tuesday night at midnight Australia time, that sort of thing. So
Nice.
we'll do.
It will start leaking out just before that, all the legal tampering
Yeah.
period. They get all the contracts out a little bit early. So
100%. They've committed in theory, in principle,
In
to this
principle,
deal. Yeah,
yeah.
which will be good. This is an exciting time. If you're a team that's struggling, any team, I just hope the Cowboys sign one player this free agency because I haven't felt the excitement of a free agent being signed for 2 years.
What do you think they're going to do? We haven't even
well,
spoken about the Cowboys.
CD restructured.
Yeah.
So
They've
there's
cleared some
money.
money.
Yeah.
Are they going to be aggressive? They have to be, don't
They
they?
have to be. There's no point not being.
What do you think they do?
Sign Sam Darnold. I don't know.
No,
it's
honestly,
not even
what
a
do you
good.
think?
It's not even a good.
No,
free
it's a
agency.
pretty average free
It's
agency.
not even a good free agency.
Who from those lists would you want at the Cowboys?
Dolman and Will Fries. They need to sign offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So does
Because Zach Martin retired and I haven't gotten over it and I don't want to talk about it.
there's 5 teams with good offensive lines, and there's 20, probably 4 teams that have bad offensive lines, and a few teams in the middle.
Yeah, it's fair to the Cowboys. They re-signed Brock Hoffman today, who we talked about a couple of weeks ago
Yep.
with Zach Martin. So they have gone, this guy's in our building, 2-year deal. So they kept him knowing he's our future starter. I don't know. I don't know what the Cowboys can do because I don't think there is no one in that free agency that I'm like, you have to get him. I wouldn't mind Josh Sweat. I think he could be a handy D-end opposite Micah Parsons. I think that's probably a priority.
Mm.
I wouldn't mind Milton Williams getting inside. I think they need to re-sign DeMarcus Lawrence and keep him in the building for a team-friendly deal.
Yep.
And just keep him around because I think he's valuable. And then other than that, maybe like if Nick Bolton's there, throw the money at him. Get a guy like Nick Bolton. in the
Well,
building.
yeah, you got no linebackers.
Yeah, get Nick
Overshawn
Bolton. Hope
did his
Overshawn
ACL.
comes back from
Yeah.
injury and he's good. And then you have those two together. And that.
What about
that's
Greenlaw? You'd have Greenlaw.
Greenlaw, yep. That's what those sorts of guys. They need their meal ticket right now is Micah Parsons, whether we like it or not defensively. I think offensively they'll be okay. Like Prescott will come back, he'll play okay.
Draft
He's
a
not gonna
running
get
back,
injured.
surely.
I think they'll draft Genty if he's there, or
Oh,
even
yeah.
try and move up for him. I think they'll get a running back. They'll get some sort of offensive weapon in the first round, and then they need to go and just address defense and sign a ton of guys. They get Diggs back next year, who's an in. Whether you like him or not, he's a good starting cornerback.
Mm.
Get him in. Bland's hopefully not injured. And you're
What do you think Seattle need to do?
Just O-line. Give me O-line, D-line.
Yep.
Well, I think we're set for skill positions. We've got really good DB room, really good wide receiver room. I think Metcalf re-signs, restructures. Good running back. We were just so hurt on offense. We've invested heavily in offense, experienced NFL coaches for offense and running game. So you're going to see that smash mouth Seattle football. Our D line was still very good, but I think Mike McDonald just loves versatility on the D line. And then, we'll see a little bit more of that. So, just the meat and potatoes, big boys. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. Just thank you very much, boys. Shout out to my boys, Scotty and Georgie on the couch. Shout out to Brocky Boy on the ones and twos.
Just before we get out of here, off-season shows will be coming out Thursday morning, Wednesday night. We have moved them around, so just make sure you are aware of that. That's why we are a day late today, this week.
Yes. Good call, producer, bro.
Yes.
Always the man.
Peace out, everyone. See you next week.
Ciao.